Artiste multidisciplinaire et producteur de musique techno, l'histoire de Wajid est indissociable de celle de Détroit. C'est un pilier qui a participé à définir ce qu'on appelle aujourd'hui le Detroit Sound. Okay, so first of all, what's your story?
Wow. Boom. Boom. What's my story? I'm a DJ. I'm a producer. I'll start. First off, my name is Wajid.
Yes.
Wajaeed. Yes. It's a given name. It was given to me by an elder in my community, and it means revealer or finder. I guess that's a reflection of my career, my 20-year-long career. I've gone from making underground hip hop to R&B to techno to genres unnamed. So yeah, I mean, I'm a lot like you in some ways. I'm a wanderer.
Yeah, you explorer.
I explore. Ultimately, it works better for the timeline of your career.
True.
Because you've traveled from one place to another.
Yeah.
And you know, my city has changed a lot too, which is the reason why you're here. So it's like I'm a vessel for the city. I always have this thing where when I make music, I ride through the city. And if the music doesn't feel good while I'm driving, then I'm not in the right space. Yeah.
I love that.
The city kind of tells me what needs to be told.
It's like we just went to Atlanta recently, and I feel like you driving in the car is the equivalent of rappers listening to their songs at Magic City.
Okay, bro.
You know what I mean?
I'll take
like
that.
the streets are your strip club type of thing.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
It's like Detroit made cars and Atlanta made fat booties.
Yes.
Detroit is a city that's been essentially abandoned by our government. If you don't learn quickly, you will not survive.
Can you tell me a little bit about that history?
I remember when I was younger, my dad worked at the automotive plant. His guidance counselor basically told him that he didn't need to go to college. My dad wanted to be a dentist. And his guidance counselor said, Leon, you don't really need to be thinking about being a dentist, you know what I'm saying? You should just go work at the automotive plant. This discouragement that my dad faced is pretty common, you know what I'm saying? It's in terms of people that wanted to do more. So where does that leave a person like my father, you know what I'm saying, that abandoned education for, you know what I'm saying, like
temporary security.
The quick grab,
yeah,
you know what I mean?
Exactly.
So it's like, it puts our city in a position where we're almost responding to being abandoned by our government. And, you know, like I was in New York for almost maybe 8 years. When I came back to Detroit, the police stations would close at 5 o'clock.
What? That seems unsafe.
It's mind-blowing, right?
That's
so it's
ridiculous.
like the police stations would close at 5 o'clock due to government funding. So what does that force you to do? It forces you to have conversations with your neighbors. It forces you to create circumstances that are not there. You know, I always say it all the time. Detroiters are the best lemonade makers on the planet. Because we were just throwing lemons and we made a Beyonce album.
That was perfect. So how was it growing up here?
I mean, it was complicated. Music was a refuge, not just for myself, but my friends as well. I was a weird kid, man. To make it plain, you know what I mean? Luckily, I was placed in a situation where I was also surrounded by a bunch of other weird kids. I guess the word is not weird, you know what I'm saying? It's more about progressive.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? Like your spirit has the ability to manifest where you want to be as opposed to where you are.
Yeah.
That's part of what early techno was about. You know what I'm saying?
Then, okay, so techno, you heard it for the first time, and then how did you start making music? Like,
that question directly connects to being able to survive in my neighborhood. I went to a high school called Pershing, which is on the east side of Detroit. Just across the street from Pershing was a musician. His name was Amp Fiddler. He, at the time, was touring with Funkadelic.
damn.
One of the homies had met him first, but in his basement he had like a really basic kind of studio. You know what I'm saying? Just a couple drum machines and some keyboards. And I remember that he was nice enough to let one of my crew members inside of his basement.
Nice.
I mean, that was his first mistake. So he invited one of us in, and then we all kind of followed.
Oh, could I, excuse me?
so there's 5 people, 5 young dudes in this basement trying to figure out how to use drum machines.
Oh.
And I remember him telling us that he was on tour and actually traveling and working as a musician, you know what I'm saying, was like, really? Like, yo, like, what? You know what I'm saying?
I don't need to go to Ford. You know?
I don't need to go. I don't need to have a day job like my father. I could wear these weird clothes like you're wearing. You know what I'm saying? Like, word. Let me seriously consider this thing. You know what I'm saying? Where I'm not evading the cops. You know what I'm saying? And then, you know, like I could just be playing on keyboards all day. So being in his basement and skipping school and learning with my friends how to use these drum machines to give us a passport to the world. That's basically what happened.
What drum machines were they, by curiosity?
Oh, man, the first one and the main one was the MPC 3000. This machine, one, it wasn't like software and all the stuff that you have available now. You actually had to have money to buy it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
You can't download a drum machine.
Nope.
You know what I mean? So it's like there was an MPC 3000 down there, and he had a couple keyboards. And, it's like... We were good, but one of my buddies, the late great Jay Dilla, he was better than all of us on that drum machine. So he learned and surpassed and actually taught us how to use that drum machine. Nice. And it was that was the turnaround time in my life, where it's just like I have a choice to make. You know? I have a choice of whether I actually don't survive or survive.
Yeah.
And that was the moment.
That's real.
It's the realest thing ever, man. I mean, it's no joke. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's literally that clear in front of you.
Et pour conclure mon entrevue, j'ai demandé de m'éduquer sur la culture techno. Vous allez voir, vous allez en apprendre vous aussi. So I'm not a connoisseur of techno.
Okay, yeah,
honestly,
good, that's good. That means we'll start from the top.
Yes, let's start from the top. Yeah. Because honestly, I've been misinformed, and I feel like my references of techno are like these trashy hits. Do you know this song, "Dance with the Devil" of the 90s? I dance with, and there was a 1, and 2, and like things that were happening in hell, and like this
is a terrible reference.
Yes, it is the worst reference point. Also, the other times that I've been really enjoying techno and being like in these after-hour like rave type of situations, I was on drugs.
Respect. Yeah, for sure.
So my image of the whole thing is like kind of distorted. You know, because honestly, like your shit is like amazing.
Thank you.
But I don't know anything about it, so please educate me on techno.
Well, you know what? Like, first of all, I understand, right? This douchebag kind of like, you know what I'm saying, like Las Vegas, like fist pumping bullshit, you know what I'm saying, has destroyed the image of something that I love deeply. It's only part of it, right? Yeah. What I've been told, the beginning of techno is putting Kraftwerk and Parliament in an elevator. This is what Derek May describes techno to be.
All right, that's a good start.
That's fucking great. That is great.
That's what I meant.
That's what you want. You know what I'm saying? Like, not this other thing that, you know what I'm saying, like it's become.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So the very beginnings of techno is built in the spirit of resistance. It was the anti-disco in some ways. You know, you think about Studio 54, where, you know what I'm saying, people are showing up and they're riding in on hot dogs and fucking crazy shit, you know what I'm saying? Glitter and all of this stuff. Glitter everywhere, cocaine everywhere, you know what I'm saying? And techno and house are the counter opposite to that, right? So that's why it's stripped. That's why it's minimal. That's why it's a tone that is not maybe so happy. Yeah. You know what I mean? So that's the very beginning of the genre. And in general, you know what I'm saying, the world and its white supremacy would not allow you to believe that a genre like this would be created from the city. So what it does is that, you know, Europe tends to say that this is Detroit techno and this is techno.
Got you.
When it's the opposite. Detroit techno is the techno.
It's the techno, yeah.
Right, yeah. That's
the origins are here.
That's the origin. This is the cornerstone from which all things came. My first hearing techno was on a radio show called Mojo. He had this mothership thing going on in the show. And if you're connecting to us, flick your front porch lights. So you flick your lights and you look outside and the whole block, lights were flickering, you know what I mean? So that was the very first time that I heard techno. The feeling, yeah, it's undeniable. Yeah, so yeah, that's my basic, that's my long-winded explanation of techno. Yeah, not that shit that you heard.
No.
There's good stuff and there's terrible stuff, but I'm spoiled in that way that I could have these immediate memories, you know what I'm saying? And even I can listen to the dumb shit and be able to say like, oh man, you tried, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's like, yeah, it's just a conversation.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And I'm glad you asked.
Because you put me on to techno now, who would be like the three...
that you need to know? Okay, I have three.
All right.
The first one I'm going to say is me.
Respect. Obviously.
But I mean, you know what I mean? Like, yo, I'm going to give the lane up, but I'm going to tell you why I gave you that lane. It's because I embody the connection between hip-hop and techno.
Yes.
So I'm a great gateway drug in terms of being introduced to the genre. Like, you're going to get something that's got a little swing to it, that's probably not as harsh as like hardcore techno, but something that is inclusive of all the Detroit genres, right? And then make them all work. So I would suggest me for your tricycle stage,
yes,
right?
That's a great answer.
But I would also suggest Underground Resistance. Underground Resistance has played such a crucial role in terms of actually adding a link to the chain. Mad Mike, who's him along with Jeff Mills. Now these are like techno OGs, right? So these guys got together and formed this group based off, a Public Enemy song that they wouldn't allow to be played on the radio.
Yeah, I heard about that.
Yeah, so it's like, it's starting in Resistance, really vast catalog, you know what I mean? And some of the stuff you might like, some of the stuff you might hate, but there's enough of it there for you to be able to absorb.
Nice. Okay.
And finally, the most important, in my opinion, the cornerstone of this genre is Juan Atkins, without questions. He was also a part of a group called Model 500. These were the records that shaped my life, and as a young person in Detroit. Tracks like Alley in Your Mind. I would say the father of techno is Juan Atkins, and that should be definitely a mainstay in your
discovery.
Yes, in your Spotify title playlist.
Yes, nice. Thank you so much, man. Grâce à Wajid, j'écoute plus la musique techno de la même façon. Suivez-le sur toutes les plateformes.